Well, tanks, soldiers, and jets flying overhead. We had that one image of America. We may have a new one. President Trump says he wants to host a military parade in the streets of Washington on the 4th of July to show off American strength. He says he got the idea from watching the Bastille Day parade in Paris, which French President Macron back in July.
It was really a beautiful thing to see. I came back, and one of my early calls were, I think we're going to have to start looking at that ourselves. So we're actually thinking about 4th of July, Pennsylvania Avenue, having a really great parade to show our military strength.
Now, if that happens, it would be the first major military parade in more than 25 years in the United States. President George H.W. Bush hosted a similar demonstration after the end of the Persian Gulf War in 1991. Governor, what do you think about this?
I love a good parade, and the 4th of July is a perfect day to do it. It would be a great opportunity, not so much because we're showing off military strength. I think we know that we've got a great military. I think it would be a great opportunity to thank the military and to allow them to be able to do something that is not combat related. Look, I got no big problem with it, and I think it gives Americans a reason to give a standing ovation to the men and women in the armed forces.
So that would be the positive. I guess when other countries do it, notwithstanding Bastille Day, but I think of North Korea doing this, and that's part of their posturing right now.
Right. So it's in how you frame it, of course, as always. So when you say a show of strength, it does immediately, those images come to you
with
of
the arms,
North
like
Korea.
the little
stepping down the street.
Sort of so I mean, it definitely needs to be framed in a different way. It's always in the art of how you present it. And if it's a thank you, I mean, like you said, to the men and women who are in our armed forces who protect our nation, I mean, that would be a wonderful and beautiful thing. But a show of strength immediately, I mean, that will trigger people all over the country into just a frenzy.
Well, and I think in between what both of you said, you know, it would be how President Trump envisions this going down and what this parade would look like, what's the purpose of the parade. But I think we show military might when we do these joint military exercises with South Korea and the Korean Peninsula, or when we drop the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan, or when we strike Assad. I think that sends a pretty powerful message to the rest of the world that we are a mighty nation and our military is the strongest.
Well, if they're going to raise the pay on the day of the parade for our military personnel, I'm all for that, right? Giving some support to those families.
But when we're looking at the fact that he just said this sitting with the French President Macron, this isn't the first time we've heard this president talk about this. You go back to just days before he took the oath of office, and he was talking to the Washington Post, and he said, we're going to show the people as we build up our military, we're going to display our military, the military may come marching down Pennsylvania Avenue. So he's been talking about this for quite some time. Following through on it is going to be a whole different thing. We'll see.
I would love to see, though, this follow a big boost from Congress in the budget of the military, specifically for training, and to say we're not just going to do a rah-rah. We're really going to show that support is ultimately you pay for it. And you give. I loved what you said. Announce a pay raise for the people who serve. Look, we're indebted to the people who serve in uniform. They buy our freedom. Every day I get to breathe free air. I do it because of people that are in uniform. And whatever we do, it needs to be, and I said it before, a standing ovation, a deep bow from the waist, and a tip of the hat and a hug around the neck to the people who keep us free.
And we've seen what it does to a generation when they don't receive that praise. I mean, I went on an on-air flight for Fox and Friends with our Vietnam veterans, and just talking to them and hearing some of their stories about the way they are treated. I mean, it's heart-wrenching, right? And so it's so important that we remember the way that these folks were treated to make sure that we never treat our soldiers and our veterans that way ever again.
It'd be interesting to hear from the military, too, if they would like this idea. It could be a morale boost.
No, I think it could be a morale boost and bring the respect and attention where it deserves to be.
You know, I was born and raised on military bases and have lived on them domestically and around the world. And there were times when we would, you know, not maybe bring out the equipment as toys, but bring out our soldiers and those officers who serve like my dad and give them praise out on the tarmac. I mean, for something other than a homecoming from war, a celebration of what they bring, definitely.